Okay, I made a recording the other day that I wanted to post, but I just actually didn't have an opportunity. I've been so busy. I still think it's very relevant, so I'm going to play it after this. I'm going to attach it basically to this recording. But I wanted to make sure I give an update on what is actually transpiring because I think it's very important. So anyway, the flagrant foul in the White House decided that he was going to go ahead and give a speech. The presumption was that he was going to come out and give a speech in which he was going to try to calm some of the tension in the country. But instead, he decided to light a match and set the whole country on fire. So nevertheless, before he gives his speech, what they decided to do was gas the American public. People who were basically peacefully protesting, constitutionally protesting, they decided to shoot them with tear gas to clear the area so that the flagrant foul, the imposter, this squatter, this coward could go ahead and take a photo op. So nevertheless, after they basically gassed the American people, he goes and gives this speech about how he's going to restore law and order. Restore law and order. So anyway, he decides to give that speech. After that, he goes out and he starts walking to a cathedral, scared as hell. He was the biggest chicken shit. When you should have seen him looking around, he was paranoid as hell. That was the fastest fastest photo op you'll probably see in American history. But anyway, he goes inside to take the photo op, and he's holding the Holy Bible in front of a burnt down church, basically, or a cathedral in DC, and he holds the Bible upside down. This man is so scared of the Bible, he couldn't even hold it straight up. The Bible was probably like, get the hell off of me. I've never seen you before. I've never felt you before. You've never touched this book before. But nevertheless, he goes and decides to do that. He goes and runs back to the White House. After he decides to do that, that is probably when we saw the most carnage since this whole thing has started. Police officers were getting shot and killed all over the country. People were getting shot and killed all over the country. Places were burning to the ground. Buildings were burning to the ground. It was no longer just those commercial buildings. It was also residential buildings. DC was still very extremely violent. Extremely violent. And none of the stuff stopped. He decided to try to tell people, oh, DC was the safest place you could possibly have been. Which DC? Is there another DC? Because it wasn't the DC that you live in that was very safe. You were even admitting that there were multiple arrests that day. So how could it possibly have been that safe? They had to arrest people to be able to protect you. The bottom line is that this man has been the worst thing that has ever happened to the United States, period. We do not need him to resign tomorrow. We need to resign effective immediately. I resign my position as the president of the United States, sign the biggest fraud to ever consider themselves as the president of the United States. That's what we need. Here's what I recorded the other day. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I mean it this time. I'm not going to do a really long video, but I just have to say a few things because I think it's important. The image you see on the front of this video is the lights being turned off at the White House. The lights at the White House have gone out. That is the most symbolic thing I've ever seen. It was this image that you're seeing on this video shows you there is no president. They had to rush this fraud, this poser, this imposter, this squatter to a bunker to protect him while he's telling other people, come out there, the MAGA people come out there. If you're looters, looting causes shooting, and we're going to bring the National Guard, and we're going to stop these thugs, and we're going to declare Antifa a terrorist organization, all this stuff as if any of that was going to stop anything. And if you've noticed, every time he opens his mouth, things get worse. Because you know what? It started in a few pockets in different cities. Now it's all over the country. You even have protests in Arkansas. You have police cars getting burned up and police protests and riots in Arkansas. You have them in Alabama. You have all this stuff happening on. And it's not just one race of people. It's not just black people that are protesting. It's white people too. And Hispanic people, Asian people. It's not just black people rioting. It's also white people, and it's Hispanic people, and it's Asian people. It's not just black people looting, and it's white people looting, and it's Hispanic people looting, and it's Asian people looting. All of this stuff that is transpiring right now is basically the most multiracial uprising you've ever seen. This is a historic moment, which needs a leader. A leader. You need somebody who's going to be able to keep the lights on at the White House. I'm sorry for laughing, but the lights went out at the White House, and it was deliberately. It wasn't like there was a power failure. They had to turn them off because they feared for what was going to happen to Trump. Because you know why? All around the White House, things are burning to the ground. The guy who's tweeting out law and order. Where's the law and order right in your front and backyard? Where is the law and order there? Every time he opens his mouth, more cities start to riot. Nobody's afraid of this man. No one's scared of the National Guard. You've exposed the United States to the rest of the world, and now the rest of the world is laughing at the United States. They don't understand how the United States could be leading the world. Let me say something. The United States is an experiment. The American empire is an experiment. Empires have crashed before. The Roman Empire, example. The reason why we have the Constitution of the United States is because that was contrary to what other systems were running. They wanted the country to be run by the people, not by this tyrannical government that we're seeing right now. They wanted to give much more power to the people because they had left a society in which it was a monarchy. That's what happened. This was not what it was supposed to become, not what we're seeing here. He has been burning down the Constitution since he got into the White House. You people who call yourself constitutionalists and say that you're conservatives, what are you conserving? What is being conserved at this point? If you're a conservative, do you want to conserve your country? Because your country's burning to the ground right now. You don't want to blame it on Trump because then that makes you have to reassess yourself, do some self-reflection and recognize you were wrong. You were wrong. And it's okay to accept the fact that you were wrong. You just need to rectify that wrong. And the only way I think you can rectify this is you guys need to start pushing for him to resign. Because if he does not resign from the presidency, it is going to be a horrific summer for this country. Things are just going to continue to burn down. And remember this, people are burning things down because you're not listening. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee, he was peaceful. He didn't choke anybody. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't beat anybody up. He didn't push anybody. He didn't do anything that would have damaged another human being's life. He just got on the knee and then he got blackballed by the NFL. People were calling him anti-patriotic and people were cussing him out. He lost so much by doing that. You didn't like that kind of protest. You don't like it when people give speeches at certain events. You tell them, LeBron, shut up and dribble. You don't like when people do the calm and innocent and quiet protests. You don't like it. What did you think was going to happen when you started trying to stifle people's constitutional rights? What did you think was going to happen? You think people are going to continue to do the same stuff that gets them no attention? They're doing this for the attention. You're going to listen to me or I'll burn it down. Period. So that's the reason why they're doing it. But you so-called conservatives say you want to conserve the United States. What are you doing about the problems that American people are facing? Trump, you thought sending the people that were struggling through this whole coronavirus crisis, sending them $1,200, some people didn't even get it, was going to help last them 5, 6, 7 months? You're so detached from regular people. You're so detached from the American public. You're so detached from humanity. You have no idea how much people have been struggling throughout this crisis. So this great American experiment that you want to be able to preserve and conserve as a conservative, how do you plan to do that by having this flagrant foul in the White House? He has to resign. We need leadership at this moment. We need somebody who can calm the temperature in the country, who can tell people that they're listening. What he should have done by now, after all this stuff started burning, was say, okay, I'm going to bring all these leaders in these communities to the White House and let's sit down, make it public, and let's start coming up with strategies to address the issues of the public. Instead, what you're seeing is people of all races being still brutalized by the police. You should have been the person saying, I do not want the police to take any more action like this. We do not need more death. We do not need more carnage. Let's talk about reforming the system, even if you didn't want to. You should at least have said it and then start sitting down and coming up with real solutions and implement them. That's what you should have done. But instead, you wanted to incite violence and tell people to go and march and tell them, oh, MAGA's going to be. MAGA didn't show up. Let me tell you something, Trump. MAGA did not show up for you. When you said, oh, maybe MAGA tonight? You must have felt real stupid when all those people continue to show up there, not even concerned whether or not your MAGA shooters were going to show up or not. You have the full force of the government, federal government. You have the FBI. You have the Capitol Police. You have even the DC Police will protect you. You have all these people that can protect you, and you're still waiting for MAGA to come up and start some carnage. That's how much of a coward this man is. But this is the truth. MAGA did not show up for you. Because MAGA saw the shit and was like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm good. I'm not getting killed over this shit. So the thing is, at this point, what we need is leadership. Just simple. Leadership. He is not equipped to lead. He's not intellectually sound. He's completely inept. He has no compassion. He is devoid of humanity. He just cannot lead in this moment. He doesn't have the capacity to do so. What people should be demanding from this man is leadership. And he can't do it. So since we know he can't be the president of the United States, he can't. There is no president in the United States. I don't even think we have a president in the White House right now. The lights are off in the White House. Come on. Like, I mean, I'm not laughing because none of what's going on is funny. I just can't believe that there is no president in the White House. They had to take this scared coward into a bunker because they don't think that they can even protect him if he's just sitting in the White House. Can you imagine that? Get him out. Save the country. Save this great experiment. Because if they don't remove this man, he's going to have the United States burning to the ground. And honestly, I think from the very beginning, he wanted to come in and destroy and destruct. To those people who thought he was going to come in and drain the swamp, he's expanded the swamp. He's decimated governmental agencies that could protect and be checks on him. He hired an AG who is just his puppet, who has no interest in abiding by the Constitution whatsoever. He's just going to do Trump's bidding from beginning to end. All Trump does is try to divide this country consistently between left and right. He follows the playbook of Fox News and Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and all those kind of crazy, sycophantic losers. So if you guys are serious about patriotism and loving the flag and loving your soldiers, the people you've sent out there to go fight in wars they still don't even understand. If you say you respect those things, then make that fraud, that imposter, the squatter, the flagrant foul, the worst thing that ever happened to the United States, make him resign.